Hey y'all, it's Dewberry. Welcome to Primal and Frugal. Today, I thought because it's Sunday and I'm cooking for the week because I work and I don't get to cook all week, but I like to eat well, I thought I would make a squash casserole for you. This is going to be a short video because I hate drawn out videos with cooking. But the squash casserole is near and dear to almost every Southerner's heart, but the breadcrumbs and the soup mix that a lot of people use is really not for everybody. So we're going to take our beautiful Fiesta and we're going to fill this with squash goodness. Now, a couple of things. One, this is not actually a primal dish because the primal way of eating does not like dairy. And of course, this is going to have a lot of dairy in it. So what we're starting out with is going to be yellow squash that I've cut up, 1 onion. This is about 1.35 pounds, so it's not quite 1.5 pounds. White onions, and these are red peppers that I grew over the summer. And when the weather turned on us and my peppers started to rot, I just picked all of them and chopped them up and put them in the freezer. So you can actually leave the red peppers out. It just makes it pretty and adds a little bit of extra flavor. On top of that, we're gonna have cream cheese. This is 8 ounces of cream cheese. I don't know, it's like Walmart cream cheese. Don't buy expensive cream cheese unless you want to. We've got 4 eggs, just regular eggs. 1/2 cup of heavy cream. If you don't want to use the heavy cream, add a couple of extra eggs and take this out, but your dish is going to be really eggy. That's up to you. We have bacon grease. Bacon grease to fry up the vegetables in. The vegetables need to be pre-cooked before it goes in because this is only going to be in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. If you cook it any longer than that, it starts to get stiff and it's not as creamy. So we're going to kind of get away from that. Bacon grease, people act like it's the best thing ever. Bacon grease, I mean, I try not to fry in industrial seed oils. So bacon grease or butter and bacon grease, honestly, I get every time I cook bacon and butter, I have to pay $3, $4 a pound. So bacon grease it is. We have our spices, which are going to be onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper, paprika, and dried thyme. And you can switch these out in any way that you want. You could leave out the garlic powder and use fresh garlic. I don't have any today, so that's all right. Then I have cheese, and this is just shredded cheese, came straight from Walmart. It's like jack cheese and cheddar, any kind of cheese that you want, as long as it's real cheese and not like American cheese. And then we have our crumb mixture. Now this is pork panko, a cup of pork panko with 1/2 cup of parmesan cheese, and then it's just got a few of the same spices that are going to the dish in the mix. And this is gonna be what we're gonna put on top instead of breadcrumbs or potato chips or like Ritz crackers or whatever you use. So I'm gonna get the vegetables sauteed and then I'm gonna bring you back and we're gonna mix everything together and throw it in the oven. So hold tight. All right, so we're back. So the squash, the onions, and the red peppers have been cooked in the bacon grease with a pinch of salt. And I cooked them until they're just tender. You don't want any crunch left because they're not really gonna have a chance to cook the rest of the way. And while I do love stir fry, I don't want crunchy vegetables in my casserole. So they're in this like a 9 by 13. So it's a standard casserole dish. We're gonna push that out of the way. And we're gonna bring in our bowl with the cream cheese. And you can see this cream cheese has been sitting out for a few hours. It's really soft. And to this, we're going to add our eggs. And just give this a mix. This is a pretty quick mix, and we're just gonna knock that cream cheese out of there. You know how it gets. I mean, we can only do what we can do. But I like to whip it up just a bit, so I use my whisk. But you could use a wooden spoon. Here we go. All right. I'm just going to whisk that together. It doesn't have to be completely smooth, but you don't want it super chunky either. But you can see that cream cheese is warm. So we're going to add our spices in. I could have cooked the spices in with the squash and the onions and the peppers, but this is going to get hot anyway. So I know it looks kind of curdled, but it'll be fine. We're going to drop in our heavy cream. And about 1/4 cup of the crumb mixture. Just to give it some thickness. Okay, and then most of the cheese. We're going to save a little bit for the top. Not that much. And that is it. That's all you have to do. Set that to the side. Pull this away. And bring our vegetables back. And we're just going to pour this on top. And then we're going to mix it in. So you could mix everything together if you really wanted to, but it's not necessary. Just going to sort of push it together. There we go. Going to give it a little shake and a little stir. All right, here we go. Then we can add our topping. Now, how much cheese you put on top is up to you, but remember, every bit of cheese that you add is going to add more carbs. So, I'm just going to spread this cheese out. Because there's cheese in it, there's heavy cream, there's just lots of dairy here. This is why you don't want to eat this every day. But you could, but probably not. A good idea. Here you go, and add as much of the crumb mixture as you want. It's not exactly like crumbs. But the other thing that I typically will do, honestly, is right before it's done, I'll add a little sprinkle of cheese on the top. All right, so this is going to go into a 350 oven for 20 to 25 minutes. And then when it's done, I will come back and taste it for you. Be right back. All right, time to see the finished casserole. Now, this actually cooked for 30 minutes, and I did put another little sprinkle of cheese on it before I took it out of the oven. The other little secret that I like to do, it's not really a secret, but I started in the middle of the oven, and then like the last 10 minutes, I like to move it to the top so that that heat moves over it. So here we go. It's nice and solid. It's not moving. It's not grooving. It's been out of the oven for about 5 minutes now. I normally wouldn't even like dish it up at this point, but I'm going to anyway. But you just want it to be done like when you touch the top of it, it's just going to have a touch of give to it. But you don't want to overcook this because it's not going to be as good if you do. Now, what I typically do is I cut this into whatever portion sizes I'm going to have. And I freeze those. Like I put them on parchment and freeze them and then put them in a freezer bag. And I take them out one at a time. And then I heat them up and eat them that way. And that way I'm not having this because literally I could eat this for 4 or 5 days and eat the whole thing. But if I eat too much dairy, I will start to gain weight, and that's one of the things, obviously, I try to avoid because I can gain weight on eating too much lettuce. So, we're just going to give a little cut here to this. Here we go. So, I am fixing to go for a walk. Here you are, right? Now, this is not a cream sauce. It's just nice and tender and cheesy with the vegetables in there, and you can actually look and recognize the vegetables. It's not like some of the casseroles. So good. The squash has a lovely fresh flavor along with the onions and the red peppers. The crumbs on top just give it a nice contrast so that everything's not sort of soft and mushy. So good. The cheese is there. You can taste the thyme. You can taste the garlic and the onion powder and the fresh onions. So good. And this is one of those things that just makes you feel like you're having comfort food. Because mac and cheese, obviously, if you're eating keto, is really not on the menu. And honestly, most of the substitutes for it are kind of dismal. I've seen people, like, they would make, like, mock noodles out of eggs and make macaroni and cheese with that. It's just, no. This will make you so happy if you've been missing things like casseroles and the light fixtures right here. But my kitchen is small. It's going to make you happy. It's got all of the flavor of a beautiful Southern squash casserole, but just lower in carbs so you don't have to pay the piper quite as much. So that you can eat this and still feel healthy. And I'm not going for a walk because I'm eating squash casserole. I'm going for a walk because the sun is kind of coming out because it's been a really gross weekend here in Atlanta, or Porterdale. And so I am going to eat this and then go for a walk. But I don't have to go for a walk after I eat this because there's no guilt involved, because everything in here are pretty pure, simple ingredients and not something that is crazy out of the factory. Oh. I will drop the recipe below. Feel free to change it. Feel free to hit a like. Send me a message and say you loved it, you hated it, you think I'm insane. I mean, I might be. But try this if you've been missing squash casserole. Or, you know, keto or ketovore, this is good. Carnivore, this won't work. There's way too many vegetables in it. And real carnivores won't touch it. But that's it for today. I hope that you make this, and I hope that you are taking care of yourself. We're going into a really difficult part of the year for some people, like the holidays are a yes and no for some people. So every little bit of comfort that I can get, I enjoy. I don't live for food like I did when I weighed 350 pounds, but I do enjoy and live to enjoy my food because we're supposed to, right? So when I cook a steak, like when I took this out, I put pork steaks and some leg quarters in the oven to cook on a low heat while I go and walk at the park in the sun. So take care of yourself. I love you so much, and we will see you soon with another recipe, something fun and something that you can enjoy and keep your health in check. Happy holidays, y'all.